What is up, gamers, and welcome back to another Deck Tech. Today we're doing Magic the Gambling, okay, aka skill issue. Alright, this is skill issue, totally not luck-based at all. Alright, so let's go talk about the casino, aka Mr. House, President, and CEO, Red, White, Black. Alright, he says, whenever you roll a 4 or higher, create a 3/3 colorless robot artifact creature token. If you rolled 6 or higher, instead create that token and a treasure token. For 4 mana, you can tap them. Roll a 6-sided die plus an additional 6-sided die for each mana from treasure spent to activate this ability. So his max, he's rolling 5 dice, which is pretty sweet. But he's from the new Fallout set that hasn't dropped yet, so this is speculative. There probably will be more rolling dice abilities when the Fallout set actually drops. But for now, this entire sort of deck tech is built around the cards that we have at the moment. Okay, so our plan is roll dice, make dudes, make that money. Okay, this is a casino. We're going to do some gambling. And of course, the house always wins. So we got Will, Blade of Frontiers. He's 1 and a red. If you roll 1 or more dice, instead roll that many plus 1 and ignore the lowest roll. So I looked up the ruling. With ignoring the lowest roll, it doesn't actually give you the house's ability. It doesn't, no triggered abilities happen because of it. Even though you are rolling 2 dice, 3 dice, etc., you really only roll 1 dice for the triggered ability. So that'll come up because we also have Barbarian class, which does the same thing for 1 mana. If you roll 1 or more dice, you have advantage, basically, is the D&D mechanic. This is from the, like the D&D sets, basically. Yeah, Will gets stronger the more dice you roll, which is pretty sweet. And Barbarian class, if you level it up, you get to make your creature stronger, which is pretty cool. And they can have haste, which is eventually you want to level it up to that point because your robots want to have haste, so you can swing in and do some damage. But advantage on rolls means you're going to roll higher than usual, which means that you're going to likely get your treasure and your robot, which is exactly what this deck wants. So let's get into some of the main engines of this deck, aka the D20 dragons. Okay, so we got these are in order of coolest and most effective for the deck. We have Ancient Copper Dragon for 6 mana, 4 and a red and 2 red. Flying, whenever it does combat damage to a player, roll a D20. You create a number of treasure tokens equal to the result, which is awesome. Okay, if you have advantage with Will or Barbarian class, you basically get to roll. You're going to make a lot of money, a lot of dragon money, a lot of treasure tokens to do all your shenanigans with. And you're going to roll above a 4, at least. So you're making a robot. You're most likely going to roll above a 6, which means you're getting a treasure already. So you're going to be getting a lot of treasure off the Ancient Copper Dragon. Then we got Ancient Brass Dragon. Oh no, my Will died. My Will is dead. Good thing. For 7 mana, 5 and 2 black. When it does combat damage to a player, roll a d20. You're going to roll above a 2. There's no way. If you roll below a 2, you deserve it. But you can basically reanimate your Will back on the battlefield to roll more dice to get better advantage from dice rolling. But this is specifically from graveyards. This does not mean your graveyard. This is any graveyard on the battlefield. So they Bajuka Bogged you, kind of an L, but you can reanimate their big hitters from their graveyards as well, which is really cool. Where X is the result. So you want to have that advantage if you can, where you can get more and more cards out for free whenever it does combat damage. Then we have Ancient Gold Dragon for 7, 5 and 2 white. Whenever it does combat damage, you roll a d20 and you create number of 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature tokens with flying equal to the result. This is pretty sweet. You get to swing in for a whole lot and do a lot. The dragons are pretty good. You get to roll d20s whenever they do combat damage, which is going to happen a lot because they all have flying. Just go for whoever doesn't have flying and you get to roll your d20s. Pretty sweet. All right, quick dice. We got Lae'zel's Acrobatics for 4. This is board protection, and it rolls you a d20, which is pretty sweet. You might not get the exact trigger because the house won't be in, but you get to roll the d20, and you can. It's thematic and really good, and it's board protection because you have a lot of treasures. You can use this whenever and catch opponents off guard. Contraband Livestock. This one is removal for 2 mana, 1 and a white, and you get to roll the d20. It doesn't matter because you're going to make in a robot that can chump block regardless of whatever they make. So pretty sweet. And then Dance Macabre, 3 and 2 black. Each player sacrifices a non-token creature. Just have another non-token creature. And then roll the d20 and add the toughness sacrificed. And basically you can return your stuff from the graveyard to the battlefield. So it's reanimation for 5 mana. It's pretty good. And we get to roll the dice, so you get to make treasure. So it pays for itself, most likely, as long as you're rolling above a 6, which is pretty likely. And it makes a dude as well, so you get a lot of value out of these d20 spells. All right, high rolling. Okay, we got Delina Wild Mage. This is one of the bigger engines of the deck because it can kind of pseudo go infinite. It's 3 and a red. Whenever Delina Wild Mage attacks, choose target creature you control, then roll a d20, create a tapped and attacking token. That's a copy of that creature, except it's not legendary and has exile this creature at end of combat. 15 to 20, create one of those tokens and roll again. So basically, if you have advantage, you can roll 15 to 20 an infinite number of times, get a bunch of treasure, get a bunch of robots, and then win the game. You gotta have good luck, you gotta have the advantage thing, but it could happen. Alright, then we got Chaos Channeler for 4 mana as well. 2 and 2 red. Whenever it attacks, roll a d20. It's Impulse Draw. It's pretty good. You roll a d20. We love to see it. Hoarding Ogre. When it attacks, roll a d20 and you make money. We love money. This pays for all your stuff because they're going to get rid of the house with their removal. And, you got to cast your commander sometimes. So it's pretty good. Rolls a d20, makes more treasure. At a minimum, it makes like 1 treasure, but most likely it'll make 2, then 4 or 5. Not 5, sorry, 4. But it's pretty sweet, pretty good. And of course, I'd throw in the Master Multiplied as well for the Delina Wild Mage because it means that you can't have them exiled, which means every combat your tokens of Delina stay around and they all trigger and you roll a bunch of d20s, which is crazy good, crazy good. Your opponents you will win most likely on the spot if you have Master Multiplied and Delina Wild Mage. It's an incredible combo. Next up, these are the slot machines, all right? Besides rolling, we want to win the game, okay? So we want to have some artifact synergy because we're making a lot of 3/3 robots. So we have Illustrious Wanderer. This from Lost Caverns. It's 4 and a white. Ascend, you'll most likely have it. Don't worry about it. Artifact creatures you control get +2/+2 as long as you have the City's Blessing. So those robots are now, I believe, 5/5s. Or what is it, 6/6s? They're crazy strong, okay? And at the beginning of each upkeep, this is your opponent's as well. You make a 1/1 gnome artifact, which is most likely a 3/3, which is crazy. You get a bunch of artifact synergies. We have a couple dudes that draw off of artifacts entering the battlefield, so you get card draw off of it. It's really good. This card is crazy good in this deck. Then we got Osier Tak, Deepest Foundation. Of course, it's a token deck, and it has white, so why wouldn't you run this guy? 4 and 2 white. Vigilance, who cares? He just triples your tokens, so whenever you roll a 4, you make 3 robots instead, which is holy moly, really good, because it'll mean every single time you roll a 4 or higher, you make 3 robots. So if you activate the house's ability and you roll a bunch of 4s or higher, you're going to be making, what is that, 4 plus 5, you make 15, 15 robots that are like 3/3s, 4/4s, I think. Insane. And we got Cyberman Squadron, again, another Doctor Who card, because I love Doctor Who, crazy good. Non-legendary artifact creatures you control have Myriad. So each of those robots count for an additional 2 because they're going at your other 2 enemies, your other 2 opponents. Really awesome, really strong. You can easily win the game if you get a good Cyberman Squadron with a couple of robots on the battlefield. You can start doing so much damage. It's really insane. And these are the payouts, okay? So this is what you do with all your treasures. Exsanguinate, classic. X and 2 black. You just siphon their life and kill them. Moonshaker Cavalry. It's 8 mana. You have enough treasure, I'm sure, by the end of the game. Whenever you draw this card to use it. Basically gives them flying and +X, where that's the number of creatures you control. If you control 10, maybe even like 7 or so robots, you're doing an insane amount of damage, and they're flying, so you can easily start killing your opponents that way. And then Revel in Riches, obviously, you win the game. Who cares? But that's the gamble. That's the gamble. If you play this, you have an entire turn you have to survive, and then you win the game, because you most likely at this point have more than 10 treasures off of your Ancient Copper Dragon and off of your commander in general. It's really strong. Wanted to make a deck that sort of revolves around the commander, but isn't exactly and totally reliant on it. You have a bunch of different ways of doing damage, and these cards the D20 cards are really good. You have a lot of advantages that way, and it's rigged in your favor. Yeah, if you like this deck, feel free to leave a like, subscribe, and maybe leave a comment if you're excited for the Fallout Commanders. I'm pretty excited. I definitely will be building a house deck because I think he is super fun and super cool mechanically, so I'm excited to see what sort of cards they add in. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day.